Now you're at that point that where you want to build an organization where you can nurture people. So it's a long term goal, but nurturing people and making them empowered is your, utmost important idea of running a business. And I feel that's very interesting because it is driven by empathy, it's driven by genuine connection to people that you care for and you have probably nurtured over last 20, 30 years.
It's it's so strange and divine at the same time that you picked this up through my handwriting. So, like you said, this is the brain waves going and writing something on paper.
Hi there, welcome to Absolutely Right, the very first graphology based podcast show in India. My name is Aditi Surana. I am a graphologist and a high performance coach. By graphology, I mean study of handwriting analysis to decode people's personalities. Now, you may wonder who writes nowadays and how can this be accurate? Is it even a study or a subject you should pay attention to? Yes, my friend, on each Wednesday episode, we have people from different walks of life coming to our show where I explore their personality and they explore their own journey with the help of graphology. And as a listener, you get to learn some interesting aspects about yourself and about the story, the journey this person has taken. Our guest today on the show is Mr. Rajiv Sethi. For more than 30 years, he's been running his entrepreneurial venture called Gemini Power Hydraulics. But the interesting aspect of his conversation, today's story, is his multi-passionate behavior. Rajiv has more than 6 hobbies and each one is taken extremely seriously and he works at it. He's dedicated to build his own knowledge, his own personality, his life around the subjects that he has picked up as his hobbies. Now, if you are wondering, during the lockdown, you liked something, you wanted to pick this up as a career or part-time thing, but you're not sure, this conversation is for you to see how you can do justice and draw parallels from one area of interest to another. I'm genuinely intrigued by the conversation that we had today. So go ahead, grab a notepad and a pen because as I would explore Rajiv's personality through his handwriting, I will throw some truth bombs about graphology where you can analyze your own self and look at certain traits in your writing to know how you think, how you process information and how you make decisions. So without further ado, let me invite Rajiv on the show. Hi Rajiv, welcome to Absolutely Right. I am so grateful that you chose to be on the show in spite of going through your COVID phase right now. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's good to come out of COVID with this kind of recording.
So Rajiv, I just introduced you to our guests, to our listeners, and we spoke about the whole idea of being a multi-passionate individual, like really picking up not one, not two, but more than 6 things as your deep passion and doing justice to most of them. So before I look at your handwriting and talk about it, what made you this, like I've always believe in that statement by Steve Jobs where he says, people who really look at the world in a different way will end up creating it. How did you manage to do that? And what was the resistance and what was the inspiration?
I really don't know where the journey really started. I think it started in school where I was the abnormal one, not doing good in studies, and my parents and everybody else telling me, "Uska beta dekha hai," and have you seen so and so and stuff like that, etc. Anyway, went through that, and along the way, I think in my formative years, I picked up things about trying to be inquisitive, trying to get into detail about things, and then certain things that would appeal to you, either culturally or emotionally. Then I kept them with me, and then I used them, and then developed on those as life, the journey went along. So that's how it is.
And what was the resistance, when people saw you going in different directions? Most of the time people struggle because family members, people around tell you like, why can't you be focused? Why can't you pick up one thing and stick to it? Why would you jump from one thing to the other all the time? So did you hear that? And what was your reaction to that?
Well, I was very blessed in that way that my parents never really, never came to know about all my other pursuits or whatever. And even if they knew, they said, "Chalo, theek hai, karne do isko," ya whatever else, etc.
So Raji, I have your handwriting sample with me, as I have already asked you to write a sample on a blank sheet of paper. It's like a unruled paper journey where you write whatever comes to your mind, and then based on that real sample, I talk about your personality. So what questions do you have for me?
What do you want to share with me about my business style, my leadership style? Is there something that you'd like to throw light upon?
Sure. So the first thing as the leader that comes to my mind is you would want to build a company in the future. And I think that this wasn't the case when you started the journey, but as you went along, now you're at that point that where you want to build an organization where you can nurture people. So it's a long term goal, but nurturing people and making them empowered is your, utmost important idea of running a business. I believe you started it by wanting to prove yourself and then, having all personal goals met. But last 6 to 8 months, or, especially in the COVID times, and all this journey has been about what can I do? What can I create? What can I build here, which would run beyond my own capacity, where people can take it to the next level. And I feel that's very interesting because it is driven by empathy, it's driven by genuine connection to people that you care for and you have probably nurtured over last 20, 30 years.
It's so strange and divine at the same time that you picked this up through my handwriting. So, like you said, this is the brain waves going and writing something on paper. Okay, so I'll share with you how true you are. Obviously, you didn't know what I was writing. I don't know what I've written and how you will interpret it or whatever. Okay, so I've been in business for over 30 years now, and we've started something in our company called as succession planning.
Yes.
And we're now looking not only at the next 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, 6 years or whatever, etc. We're looking at the next 30 years. So where can the company go from the first 30 to the next 30?
Amazing.
So one very interesting perspective that came up to my son through one of our mentors is that your father, who started the company, has bought the company X so much in 30 years.
Right.
So in the next 30 years, are you ready to take it to the X, Y much,
Right.
So much, or etc., etc. Yes, so this is what is actually fueling me, keeping me energized, motivated, etc.
Now, Rajiv, let's talk about the whole idea of cultivating a newer thought, newer hobby. Do you have a process, if you want to tell our listeners where to begin? Because during this time, during the lockdown period, people have picked up many, many things. But just tell us about your photography interest and your hobby with painting and music and, things that shaped your life, shaped you in ways that you never experienced or expected.
I was fond of, let's say, fine arts and maybe photography, without even ever actually owning a camera, or the visual things appeal to me. So, but then because that was the rat race or conveyor belt or whatever that they talk about, so I was put in one side, and 5 years later on, I emerged as a mechanical engineer from somewhere, and that's where my day job comes from.
Right.
The first couple of years I didn't realize it, but then the first years it was just music, where I used to listen to a lot of music and write them down and understand the lyrics.
Most engineers do. Like they have this musical bend of mind, but not your kind of music, of course.
Yeah. A lot of professionals, I think even doctors also have it or whatever. Yeah. So when I was studying engineering, I spent more time outside my college than inside my college. So मैं pass कैसे हुआ मुझे पता नहीं, but pass हो गया था. So yes, so music was there, and then with traveling, and then with photography. So how does one pick this up? Is that it's like along your journey, if you've smelled some flowers and you haven't been able to, let's say, either smell them again or pick them up or do something about them, whatever. Life goes around in circles. It gives you enough chances to either meet those flowers again or come back again and pick those flowers again. And if you still have an attachment for that, you can pick them up and bring it in a little more mature manner than before.
Okay.
So this is how I see it, that if along your journey you've not professed or not done certain things, you can always pick it up.
Now, I speak a lot about the stroke in handwriting called flow of thoughts, the S connection stroke or the graphotherapy Kama Sutra stroke, which helps you feel calmer. So, I've been speaking a lot about that over this last 1 year, and people have heard me on all social platforms. Now, the stroke allows you to be creative, it allows you to connect to unrelated things. It is one of those quick calmness inducing mechanisms, and in your handwriting, I find it in so many places naturally. So
Okay.
every time you connect your S stroke, somehow you form the connected S formation, which, according to graphology, is a way to be creative or be in a flow all the time. So when I look at your life and your journeys, where you flow from one area to another and kind of figure your way around it, I will give some credit of that to the S stroke also. So I think you should kind of practice that as stroke to flow even further if you like. Over
Yeah,
to your
I'm
handwriting, Raju.
happy to know a little more about that. I may have done it before, but there's one thing that I must tell you over here that,
Yes.
like I said, my day job is working, and okay, now it's COVID and it's lockdown. Otherwise, I'm usually in meetings with my
Right.
colleagues and my and telling them how to move further at work, etc.
Right.
So, like you said, I always want to give them an innovative way of doing work rather than make it sound very mundane and very dreary. So it's not about some big Excel sheet or some PowerPoint presentation or whatever. I take the essence of that and expound that into a very simple theory or a story.
Okay.
Most of them cricket related or sports related or with family related, etc. And I've seen that the people understand that much better and they receive it much better. And so that's a part of my creativity where I bring uh, work getting done through storytelling. Story
Nice.
is a very big art.
Of course.
We've all gone through it. Maybe since we were 3 months old or 6 months old, our
Right.
father, mother, whoever has been telling us a story, Chanda Mama, Soja, or whatever else.
True.
Some story, yeah. So we are used to storytelling. Where everybody is. There's no two
Right.
ways about it.
Of course.
Yeah. So and that's your comfort. That's your something that you really feel so nice and in your parents' arms or whatever else, etc. So
Right.
if you catch the right storyline, you will be able to impress anybody and get them to do anything for the right things, of course.
I remember it was 2008, and I was starting my second office that time. And you called me once and you said, "How's it going? Are you okay? Like, everything is in place." I said, "Yeah, but a few things. I'm still talking to this property owner and we are still negotiating on it." You said, you told me this line. You said, "Go and talk to him. There is nothing in this world that one cannot figure out by talking to." And I
And
remember that sentence till date, and I believe in it now after all these years. I really believe. So if I think there is somebody fighting, not agreeing, disagreeing, I pick up the phone and I talk to them. I'm like, there's always something you can figure out by talking to people, by figuring out their perspective more than anything else. So coming to your handwriting, what questions can I answer?
uh, am I an introvert?
My answer to that question is yes. But you are an introvert with curiosity that drives you closer to people and not the only desire to talk to them. Now, what I mean by that is in your handwriting is straight, and in moments it moves to the left. So, thereby, your introversion, your desire to connect with yourself, is way stronger than anyone else's desire. People who are extrovert, their handwriting moves to the right. But at the same time, the lower loops in your writing, which is like the letter J, letter Y, letter G, those loops are in a way well formed and flourishing. So thereby the curiosity aspect when it comes to other people, their preferences, materialistic ideas, and things that offer variety, you're always curious about them. Now, this is where your nature appears to be extroverted, because you go and talk to people not because you really want to communicate or feel that conversational connection, but you are interested in the variety this new person offers or brings to the table. So thereby you're perceived as an extrovert, and that's why I smiled there. But the whole idea of your connection to others is driven and rooted in your curiosity to explore variety more than anything else. So you become like a child in a candy store when you really look at multiple people who are, flourishing and who are experts in their own fields. You want to go and experience the essence of life that they're exploring.
So now, while you were saying this, something just came up to my mind, and I'm just thinking this is like an analogy for me, and I don't know how true this is, but I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
So why I asked you about being introvert is because I'm a very personal person. There are so many experiences at the same time, I love relating to people, talking to them, get their stories. And then, so, while you were saying this, what it came to me is that probably I'm like a bee. I want to go and meet every flower and take their, let's say, story or their nectar or whatever else, etc. But at the end of it, I come and store it in my beehive.
Well
and
said.
actually, my beehive is still connecting dots, so it's becoming bigger. I have to now bring it to fruition, where either I write a book or make a movie or do something about it. And it's not about characterizing people. It's just my life experiences and how so many great people have. So many lovely people have influenced me in my life, and how I could bring their good characteristics and share it with other people. That's what it's all about. I love to share. There's no two ways about it. So if I have a good experience, I'd like to share about it.
So throughout the lockdown phase, you organized a concert every single day. How long? Like, what was the duration of that whole journey?
Okay. So a little quick recap to that is that I and a couple of friends of ours are very fond of live singing. That is the Baithak, or the Baithak kind of singing, ghar pe mehfil karke.
Right.
So where you have eye contact with the artist. You understand before and after the performance what he or she wants to perform along with other people, and nothing can duplicate that effort. I'm not saying recorded music is bad or whatever, etc.
Right.
But this is a different flavor altogether. It's like some people say, I want to have a vada pav, but a street vada pav. So this is my thing. And somebody says, no, I want to have a hygienic one. I want to have it so and so, so and so. Anyway, so whichever form. So my thrill is to have the artist sit in front of you. And then one of the things that I always do, and I always respect artists, is that I don't want them to sing what I want to hear.
Okay.
This is personally me. Because if I want to hear that artist or what he or she has sung before, I can go to YouTube or Spotify or whatever else, etc., and press that, and that can come over there. No?
Right.
At that moment, the artist has practiced so many hours, months, years of stuff that he or she is bubbling with that to show off that expertise or that repertoire. And everybody will say, "Arey, aap wo wala gana gaiye," which is one random hit. So what about those 1,000 hours
Sure.
Okay, so cutting it short, so we were very fond. So with this lockdown coming in, everything went in for a spin. I'm a little technology freak, so I got onto Zoom, made a group. I already have a couple of WhatsApp groups of people who are genuine music lovers. And then the first day we had 20 people, onwards. So I hosted 51 consecutive shows every night.
Wow.
51 consecutive shows of high quality artists, everybody at their own time, at their own expense, just coming and meeting me and my friends and having a good time and sharing their musical experiences and journey together with us. In the coming months, you'll come to hear about this. I want to make this into a repository for classical, semi-classical, ghazal, and lighter forms of music, where people who can come and post their recordings over there. They will all be
Nice.
recorded by us, by Yellow Bugle, and for a very small, fair subscription, people can come and listen to them. So they will not be something that you could just go to YouTube and "Okay, mujhe ye sunna hai," whatever. It'll be like
Exclusive performance.
bespoke, yeah, bespoke versions,
Nice.
smaller versions, 60 minutes, 45 minutes, 90 minutes of some very exclusive stuff. So
Nice.
things like what you go on to YouTube now and you look for on All India Radio
Right.
YouTube sites. So, very. So this, with technology, we'll have good quality audio and good quality video, and probably something about the artist also.
Nice. Nice. So Rajiv, coming back to your handwriting, what
Haji.
questions do you have for me?
So like, I mean, I'm a human being. I've been successful at many places, and I've been not so successful in many places. So given my handwriting and my nature and the way that my strokes are working, etc., is there a way that I could, let's say, better myself by not taking these past failures as a part of my baggage?
Okay. Now, the trait that I'm going to talk about is the reason behind your success with not only professional success, but also with all these endeavors that you have chosen. And the same trait actually stands against you when it comes to your dealing with your failures. The trait is of perfectionism.
Okay.
So in your handwriting, when you have small letter M, where the second hump of the letter is taller than the first one, this is a sign of perfectionism. Now, in your case, the perfectionism is something that you identify with. You really put your heart and soul into doing anything and everything that you pick up with utmost level of dedication to get to the perfect result. And the same thing, you know, you do it at times from pursuing excellence, but also at times from not failing, not doing a shabby job, not with that fear of, oh my god, what if I do not reach the target or the level that I have set for myself. So it's not about what we do, but it's the motive behind that same action. So when we are doing the same thing from that fear, it creates different chemical emotions for us. Chemistry changes. We are constantly trying to run away from this dog that is chasing us in our minds. And whereas when you're doing something for a pursuit, where you want to achieve something because it gives you that level of satisfaction, we all know the feeling is very different. But we cannot differentiate between the two. We set ourselves for failure by doing that. So in your case, Rajiv, every single time you come to a point where you start questioning yourself that this is my must achieve target line because I am doing it, and this is where my standard is this high, or I have done this in the past, I have to out create myself, I would say that that is your indicator of perfectionism.
Okay.
One is doing it because you're curious and you want to explore it and you want to take it to the next level because it is like a child. You're like, oh, I haven't explored this new thing. Can I take my performance to the next level because I want to? And another is I have to perform better than where I had reached in the past performance. The very moment it becomes with that reference, it builds the pressure and the past failures start playing on your mind.
So what can one do in my handwriting or my practices, so that I can recognize the past laurels as also the past challenges, etc., but move ahead in a way that I'm, going ahead creatively? What can I do in my handwriting?
So
In my
handwriting changes, we call it graphotherapy, require 6 to 8 weeks for us to establish that handwriting stroke. Because we are not changing handwriting, we're changing behaviors through handwriting. So
That's right.
changing one stroke will not create that shift. Unlike what people generally talk about, just adding one line in your signature, just doing this small thing would not change much. The actual graphotherapy happens like any other behavior when you cultivate a newer neuro pathway by practicing it. And we call it rewiring your brain. It cannot happen one fine day by changing one little thing, but it's about practicing. So perfectionism as a trait is built by 3 to 4 behavioral traits where you get into self-doubt, you also fear rejection, you have the curiosity to take the thing to the next level, and also you want to prove yourself where other people recognize you. To change perfectionism, we have to change all these 4 factors in handwriting. So I won't be able to answer that question, what can I change in the handwriting? Because for every person, it will be different. But because graphology is the core of our conversation here, the most important thing is self-awareness. The very moment you become aware of your perfectionism thoughts, you'll be able to decode them and stop yourself when you start functioning from that motive. I feel that is very, very powerful to begin with. Now, I want to talk about one more area of your personality where, you kept talking about sharing is an important aspect, making a difference to other people. And I spoke about empathetic leadership in the beginning. I want to connect all of them and speak about one particular stroke in the writing. When we write letter S, the lowercase letter S, some people write it with both the loops, and some people only write the lower half of the loop. The S stroke is almost like inverted C. So when you start in a connection word, so Rajiv, to give you an example, when you're writing especially, S is only with the lower half. That particular stroke of S talks about your desire to connect with other people, to make a difference to their life, to contribute and to share. Anybody with that stroke will always feel the need to give and share and make whatever is theirs available to others. And that generosity of spirit, more than anything else, is found in your handwriting too.
Oh, thank you for revealing this to me. I just noticed this just now. Thank you.
So okay. A few things to keep in mind.
I can see the connect that you've made over here, and I can personally relate to what you're saying. Well done.
Now, a few things to keep in mind where I would say the so-called red flags of your personality to to avoid certain behavior. One is impatience. So curiosity with impatience can become dangerous because, it has been killing cats for many, many generations, and you must pay attention to that trait. When you get impatient, when you start rushing through things only because you want to reach the end. And that one area becomes overpowering and intimidating for people around you when they do not understand the context from where you're coming from. Okay. Second thing, the impatient stroke is found when the lowercase t's, the horizontal line in the lowercase t is flying off on the right side, is where we detect impatience. The second area of caution, I would say, is where the excitement goes to a level that it creates confusion. So when you're operating from clarity, you know what you're chasing, where you're going, why you're going there. But out of excitement, impatience, and lack of clarity, sometimes the journey becomes unclear. But you continue to move on because you have decided so. You continue to move forward because you believe that this is what I wanted to achieve, so I cannot stop right now. And you keep pushing through it. Now, we believe in those journeys. We think, we should stay on the process. But taking score and realigning with clarity is very, very crucial. So many times we miss on the larger ideas. We miss on what we want to achieve. So that realignment, I believe, is something you should work at. And when that clarity goes off, other people can't detect it for you because they have been questioning your excitement in so many areas. So they do not know whether you're excited or unclear, whether you're focused or you are really unsure of where you're going. So thereby, for them to detect it, identify it, and give you feedback becomes difficult. Even the trusted, closest people cannot differentiate between those smaller gaps. But you can devise a mechanism for you to know where you're operating from alignment or not, for you to make better decisions. I think that will really, really help. And I'm saying that because when I ask people to write on a blank sheet of paper, we write on imaginary lines. The imaginary lines, because your mind has to evaluate the whole line and every word requires that deliberate efforts, it gives the real information. And if it goes up and down, even slightly, it talks about the baseline. The line, imaginary line, is called baseline in graphology. And we call it wavy baseline or slightly wavy baseline, talking about unclear ideas of where the journey is going. So even for all our listeners, if they want to think and understand whether they're unclear or not, just grab a blank sheet of paper, unruled paper, scribble a few lines and see where your baseline is going, and you'll know how clear or unclear you are in your mind. I do that often, almost every month.
Oh, lovely. So, do you have any comments about my signature?
Yes, I do have comments about your signature. I've seen your signature go through multiple journeys, and I believe the signature right now that you're on is focused. But I would not comment much because I know I have designed it. Rajiv used to have a very, very different signature, and that allowed him to be completely exploratory. And I was of an opinion that the signature should be more focused and directional. And when we did that, he said it worked for him, but he said I lost my edge to explore art. And then he chose to go back. Today's sample has the signature that I have designed, so that's why I laughed in the beginning when you asked that question. Yes, Raji, what would you like me to talk about your signature?
No, I've carefully crafted this and maintained this, etc. So I rarely use any initials now while signing. So
Mhm.
if I print my name or write my name or even my signature, both are the same now because
Right.
that's how it is, and that's what I want to be. What you see is what you get.
Yep.
I want to be very direct in my thinking, in my approach. I should be uh, transparent enough for people to understand that this is what he means. And I don't see much variance. Even this was not a trick question, but yes, you know that many
Yes,
years
of
ago,
course.
I used to have a very fancy signature.
Yes, and how much I had to like really negotiate to make every single change in your signature. That was like, and I was much younger. I didn't know negotiation and coaching as much as I do today. So I really had to use like utmost level of my talent to put my foot down and convince you that no, we won't change the signature the way you want it, and we will stick to graphological rules. I know that struggle.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've learned a lot about how to learn and explore art, looking at you, observing you over these years, and I will continue to do that. Thank you so much for being part of this show. I so excited. I speak a lot about high performers, and I always say that high performers are the people who always learn things that they haven't explored, and they continue to grow and evolve and rediscover themselves. I think, Rajiv, what you
Yeah.
shared today
So
is the
I
journey.
was very quickly before you let me go or before you.
Sure.
Okay. So I never fancied myself as an artist or a painter or whatever, etc. But then I started, and then I met a couple of people along the way who helped me, find some fine tune some parts of whatever.
Right.
So when I look back now, and I see some of the work I was seeing it recently, so I've got art, whatever I call as art or whatever I produce as art, hanging in Australia, in Dubai,
Wow.
in in various parts of India, and I feel wow. I mean, some of the art must be appealing, even though I mean that's my form and expression of that.
True,
It gives
true.
me a great sense of satisfaction that that is being appreciated, uh, and I could bring smile to a wall. I
Of
think that's what
course.
it's all about.
Well said,
Yeah.
well said. Also, it takes courage to have that self expression, criticized by people, if at all, or loved by people. But to put yourself out there and be subjected to other people's opinion requires courage, which most people do
Yeah, it
not
does.
take that step
It's
towards.
sometimes very challenging. ये क्या बना है? So
Exactly.
some of my classmates say, ये राजू क्या बनाया तूने? बोला मेरे को भी नहीं मालूम है लेकिन there is some expression in it.
True, true. Rajiv, thank you so much for being on the show. I think this was a free flowing conversation for anybody who considers themselves as a multi passionate individual, can learn that they don't have to restrict themselves by one or two things. They can continue to explore and build on their journey along the way. Thank you so much for sharing all these experiences. It was lovely talking to you after so many years and analyzing your handwriting one more time.
Thank you for having me, Aditi. Thank you very, very much. As always, it's a pleasure to see you and your lovely smile. hope to see you soon at the end of this COVID business that happened.
Yes, soon.
And
Fingers crossed.
I wish you all the best in all that you're doing.
Thank
And,
you.
yeah.
I cannot agree with this point about stories more. We all look at our lives from different perspectives, different stories, different narratives that we build over a period of time. Stories that are woven so deeply as part of our personality, part of our belief system, that we just cannot differentiate. The movies we watch, the books that we read become part of who we are, knowingly or unknowingly. The idea of our Wednesday episode is similar. We share stories, conversations from a graphological perspective for you to really understand the person, their limitations, their imperfections, and in the bargain, accept your imperfections every single day. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Absolutely Right. If you have any comment, any question, please write to me. My email ID is WRIT, at aditisurana.com. If you want to learn graphology to study your personality, or if you want me to analyze you, you can find all the details of our graphology masterclass or booking a session on my website aditisurana.com. Please go ahead and check out the graphology aspect of your personality by writing a small paragraph and checking your baseline and checking the way you loop your Y's and cross your T's. That's the whole idea, for you to have fun with this concept, for you to make it part of your everyday life, to see what's happening in here. Let's connect on Friday with a short episode where I talk about grapho journaling, where you can connect with yourself and explore your thought process and your emotional triggers and go beyond it. Till then, happy writing!